Hello and welcome back to another unpacking video. In this video, we are going to unpack from our 27-day trip that Chris and I each did in a carry-on. This was actually one of the most difficult trips I've ever had to pack for. We spent half of our time in Ireland and the other half in Portugal, and as you can probably guess, the weather and the climate is completely different for both. So what we'll do is unpack our suitcases, show you everything we brought, talk about what worked, what made it possible to do carry-on only, and show you some tips and tricks and just talk about some of the things that happened along the way. First, I'm going to unpack mine and then Chris will show you his. For this trip, I brought one roller carry-on bag as well as one personal item bag, but I still can't quite show you the personal item bag yet. Promise you that video is coming out soon and I'll be able to show you the personal item bag. You're gonna love it, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that video. This is the aluminum suitcase from Level 8, and I wanted to bring it for 3 reasons. The first reason is because in the 3+ years that I've owned this, I find that this fits in so many airline sizers because of its, slim form factor. And it does have a little bit more interior space because it's aluminum. I'm gonna let Chris explain it because he's kind of a nerd when it comes to stuff like that.
Okay, nerdy engineering behind the scenes with Chris. So the exterior of this luggage actually doubles as its frame. So there's no interior framework intruding on your interior space like you would have on like a polycarbonate shell, plastic, cloth, or anything like that. So you actually do end up with slightly more interior space. It's negligible, but it counts when you're running carry-on only.
The second reason I chose it is because I wanted a trunk style closure because I knew I was going to be maxing this out because I'm packing it to its full limit, and on the chance that I might have to check it, I also wanted a trunk style closure with no zippers for that reason as well. Which brings me to the third reason. In case I did have to check the bag or decided to check the bag, I wanted aluminum because that is going to be the most durable type of suitcase to protect the contents of my bag. And I'll talk more about that a little later in the video and let you know if we did have to check these bags. So now let's see what's inside. Okay, here we go. Cool. In no particular order, I'm just going to start unpacking and let you know what I brought. First thing is my little AirTag. This is not an actual AirTag because I don't have Apple products. So if you have Android products, this is what you can use and these work great. Okay, let's start on this side. First, this is one of the souvenirs I brought back. Yes, people always ask me about souvenirs, so here you go. Okay, next, this is my packing cube, and this is filled with mostly pajamas, socks, undies, a couple of tank tops, more socks, more undies, and my bathing suit. I packed 3 pairs of merino wool socks, and I packed 7 pairs of undies and 2 pairs of pajamas. Next, I want to show you these. These are foldable travel hangers. They are from Amazon. As you can see, they pack up super flat, and these are a must-have, especially if you're going to Europe. The hotel rooms are pretty small, and we found that in most of the hotels that we stayed in, what did we count? We counted 12 different hotels, right? You can say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we stayed in 12 different hotels, and most of the hotels, sure, they have hangers, maybe 5 or 6, but they're the hangers that you cannot take from the closet. I don't know how you describe that.
They don't have hooks on them.
They don't have hooks on them, right?
A little thing that you have to put the thing in the thing.
Yeah, so that doesn't always work when you want to dry stuff out, when you're airing out your laundry. Sometimes you don't want to leave it in the tiny little closet. So these are fantastic to have. You can hang them anywhere. I highly recommend throwing 2 or 3 in your bag. I just got them from Amazon. They were super cheap. I'll link them down below. Okay, as you can see, this is just kind of a random jumble. Like I said, I have not unpacked it yet, and The last day packing up to go back to the airport after 27 days, it's kind of a mess. So this is pretty behind the scenes. So I'm just going to start pulling things out. This is my merino wool t-shirt. In here, I have one random boot. It's crumpled up, but it'll be fine. These are my waterproof Chelsea boots that I brought for Ireland. I'll talk a little bit more about shoes later on in the video. But then inside I've got a hair clip. Oh, and my little trophy that I won, and my little shoe freshener balls. So yes, you are totally allowed to pack things in your shoes. My feet are clean, so it doesn't gross me out, but I've seen a lot of comments of people saying, don't put things in your shoes. You know what? It saves space, and I will continue to do that. Next, we have a pair of linen pants and another pair of linen pants. I also have my pair of wide leg jeans, and this is another tank top. And in here is another shoe bag. These are the walking sandals that I brought. I wore these in Portugal a few times. I'm going to talk a little bit more about clothing once I kind of unpack all of my clothing and talk about what worked and what I would recommend you guys do. Okay, these are just a couple little souvenirs. This is the little adapter plug that comes with my hairdryer brush, which I've talked about a lot, and it's on this side, so you'll see that in a second. Now, the moment of truth. I have not opened this yet. This is the scrubba bag that we use for laundry, but in it I packed something breakable and liquid. So on the small chance that it does break and explode, hopefully it would stay contained in this dry bag. So let's undo it and see what happens. I was feeling it and I think it's okay. So let's see. Oh, I think we're good. Okay. First, this is another souvenir. My cute little Irish newsboy hat. Aha, I think we're good. Okay. So in here, it made it. I have a bottle of maple syrup. This probably seems super random going to Ireland and Portugal. One of our sweet, sweet subscribers actually has maple syrup trees on her property, and she was just doing harvest before the trip and actually brought me a bottle of maple syrup. So I had to bring it home and make sure it survived, and it did. Oh, I'm so happy. Pancakes for everyone. Another reason why I love the scrubba bag, because yes, we did use this to do laundry on our trip, but it works great if you are bringing home something liquid and potentially fragile. You can put it in there, and hopefully if it does explode, it won't explode in your whole bag, just in the scrubba bag. That's that side. Now it's time for the next side. My classic toiletry bag that I love so much. I bring this everywhere with me. I have talked about this in so many videos, on so many trips. The main reason is because it has a hook so you can hang it anywhere. It's got so many different compartments. I just love this thing. So if you do not have one of these yet, which I know many of you do, please get yourself one because it is awesome. I used this part. I didn't use this part for my liquids. I just used it as like an extra compartment. But I used this part of the bag, and then Chris ended up just using the actual 311 liquids bag that comes with it. For my liquids, I just used a regular old Ziploc bag because that works perfectly fine for me. Toiletries, I'm not going to go into super detail about toiletries because I've made videos in the past. I am also working on an updated toiletry video, but if anything comes to mind as we're going through stuff, I'll talk about it. Okay. Next is hair products. This is my hairdryer brush that I bring with me to Europe because it is dual voltage. As you can see right now, it is clicked over to the 240 volt. So that's how I have to use it in Europe. If I want to use this back home or somewhere else where it's 120, this little adapter thing that it comes with, it has like a little tab that you can just stick in there and switch it. This worked awesome. And then I also bring my mini hair straightener. Look how cute this little guy is. Like that. And the reason I need this is because I have bangs now, so I have to travel with an extra hair tool. This actually works really good. It gets hot enough that if I had the time and the patience, I could do my whole head if I wanted to. Couple bras, I'm not going to go into detail on those, but I do have another one in my packing cube that I also brought. This trip I brought 3 bras. Everyone always asks how many, there you go. I brought 2 belts on this trip. This is one of them. I did not wear it once, so I shouldn't have brought it. In here, this is my watch case for when I don't feel like wearing my bulky Garmin watch. These are my Cakes nips covers. And then some more clothing. So this is a merino wool cardigan. I brought and wore a pair of Lululemon joggers. I brought a pair of leggings. This is another cardigan. You guys have seen me wear this in other videos. This is my laundry bag that comes with the Trip Travel Gear packing cubes, of which I used just this one for this trip. You'll notice that I didn't use any other packing cubes. That is because I kind of ended up packing last minute. I did a packing video before this trip, and then I checked the weather again, I changed a bunch of things, and I just started like cramming things in, so sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I did pack a few extra things that were not in this suitcase with me on the way home because I ran out of room, so Chris had to pack them for me. Thank you. Number 1, I bought this cute little shirt before I left, thinking I would like wear this in Lisbon and in the Algarve, and I did not wear it once. So it is what it is.
You made me pack something you didn't even wear?
I know, I know. This is my beloved black merino wool t-shirt, and then I also packed 2 other t-shirts, a pink one and a white one. And I also have my travel day outfit. So my travel day outfit was a pair of leggings, merino wool t-shirt dress, and then also this merino wool hoodie. And I wore this as my travel outfit on like our main travel day on the way to Europe, our main travel day coming home, and then also on like a few transitional days as well. But I was also able to wear my hoodie and my leggings and this dress like with other outfits as well. I also had one more pair of jeans that I packed with me in my personal item coming home. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit more about clothing because I did something a little different for this trip. So I'm going to get rid of this and kind of just arrange my clothing a little bit, and then I'll share with you what I want to share. So I've got all my clothes laid out here, and I actually forgot. Chris had to pack one more thing for me on the way home. This is my merino wool sweater that I wore a lot of as well. And I did forget about one more cardigan. I actually ended up leaving it in Ireland. It was a green cardigan. It was like $12, and I bought it specifically for like a themed night in Ireland, and I just didn't have room to take it with me, so I did have to leave it. So basically for this trip, what I did was I kind of figured that the clothing I would wear in Ireland was going to be completely different from what I would wear in Portugal. So I didn't necessarily follow the 3x3x3 method or the 5-4-3-2-1 method. What I did was choose a few core outfits for each place, and then I essentially packed half my suitcase with Portugal things and half with Ireland things. For instance, this is my Portugal side here. I didn't wear any of this stuff in Ireland, so this just stayed perfectly. I packed it like as tightly as I could, and that just stayed in my suitcase for the first, I think it was the first 12 or 13 days of the trip. I didn't touch it. So in total, I ended up bringing 2 pairs of jeans, 2 pairs of linen pants, 2 pairs of leggings, and a pair of joggers. And that was it for my bottoms. 4 t-shirts, 2 of them being merino wool, 2 of them being just from Old Navy. This acts as like a sweater, but it's very lightweight and thin, but it is super warm. 2 cardigans or layers, a black one and this cream colored one. This shirt that I didn't wear, as well as this blue travel hoodie, of which I'm wearing the black one right now, and the black t-shirt dress. Basically on the way to Ireland and Portugal, I did pack all of this in both my carry-on and my personal item. I know I got Chris to bring a few things back for me, but that's because I bought some souvenirs and stuff like that. But it can be done. Like, I brought all of this in technically a carry-on. Now here's something cool. I mentioned I brought 4 t-shirts. I brought black one and this cream colored one, and then this white and pink. I only wore the white and pink on the second half of my trip, which was about 12 days. I had to wash each of these, not fully, like just in the armpits, but I had to wash them like after every time I wore them. These, fun fact, I did not wash either of these t-shirts once, and I wore them throughout the whole 27 days. And that is because they are merino wool, and that is all thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Unbound Merino. Unbound Merino is one of my favorite Canadian brands to partner with, and even though this video is sponsored by them, I personally chose to travel with as much merino wool clothing as I could because it literally does feel like the miracle fabric for travel. If anything, the best thing to wear on long travel days, on long flights, is merino wool clothing because it truly is temperature regulating. I mentioned that on my travel day, I wear a merino wool t-shirt dress and then also a merino wool hoodie, and I wore those on our first 24-hour travel day. I wore them then those articles of clothing throughout our trip, and then I also wore them on the way home. I have not washed this t-shirt dress yet. I wore this so many times. Like, it does not smell. It does not smell. It truly doesn't smell. I have not washed this since we've been home. And the reason why is because even if you do get a little bit sweaty, like people comment all the time, well, what if I'm a sweaty traveler? Being merino wool, you tend to not overheat like you might in other fabrics. And with that, you get less sweaty. And even if you do get a little bit sweaty, the moisture evaporates pretty much immediately. So unlike other fabrics, merino wool doesn't stay damp or anything like that. And so when it dries, so does the smell. There's nothing for the smell to cling onto, which is why merino wool doesn't stink, which is why you can rewear it multiple times without having to wash it. All you do after you wear it for a day is just drape it over a chair or hang it up overnight, and it is good to go the next day. That makes merino wool clothing the ultimate travel clothing because you don't have to do laundry when you're on the road. And one of the pieces I wore the absolute most on this trip, both in Ireland and Portugal, is this nice new cardigan that they have as well. Be sure to check out Unbound Merino clothing to help you pack for your next trip. I'll leave the links to all the pieces that I wore on this trip in the video description below, as well as the top comment. All right, time for shoes. I mentioned that I brought these were my waterproof shoes because going to Ireland, I wanted to pack something that would be totally waterproof as well as hikeable. First of all, you'll notice that I packed this one boot in my suitcase. This one was in my personal item bag on the way home. So you are allowed to split up your shoes based on where they fit when you pack them. They don't need to be put together, just a tip. And this is where I put my other belt. I mentioned I brought 2 belts. One of them I didn't wear. I did wear this one quite a bit. This is from Quince. So I'll drop the link in the video description, but yeah, I just threw it in my boot to pack away. These are basically just black waterproof Chelsea boots. I love these because these are from the brand La Canadienne, and they are very, very lightweight. And yes, they are ultra waterproof, so they worked fabulously, and I can hike in these. These worked out really, really well. But I know that I was also debating between these and the Vessi shoes, and a lot of people asked me what I ended up bringing. So that is the answer, but I want to talk about Vessi shoes real quick. So these are the Vessi shoes that I ordered. They are totally waterproof. And so I was trying to decide if I could bring these as both my waterproof shoes and just like my daily runners that I would just be able to wear. So basically killing two birds with one stone. They arrived about 5 days before I left for my trip. So I didn't quite have enough time to break them in, which you really, really want to make sure you do. And I was going to be gone for 27 days. I wore these around the house as much as possible, but I just didn't quite feel comfortable that they were broken in enough, and I didn't want to risk it on such a long trip. So in the end, obviously I went with the black Chelsea boots. I'm going to keep these. I haven't returned them yet, but the reason why I didn't want to bring them on this trip is for two reasons. First, the inside is basically like a neoprene layer, which is why they are so waterproof. And I heard a lot of feedback from a lot of you mentioning that if your feet get sweaty at all or tend to run a little bit hot, they get really hot inside. And I knew I was going to be wearing these like all day long, and my, even though I do wear merino wool socks, which make a huge, huge difference, my feet do tend to run a little bit hot. So I didn't want to risk it. So I'll try these on another shorter trip or wear them around town, but that was one of the reasons. The second reason is the back of the shoe. So wearing them around the house, this is it's pretty hard. Like it's pretty tough. So, I mean, it is there for like structure, I guess, and durability, but where's my New Balance? So these are my trusty old New Balance shoes that I have worn everywhere on so many trips. I should probably just get like a new pair because these are looking pretty clapped out, but they are so comfortable. I can walk 30,000 steps a day, every day with these things. But look at the difference. The back of the heel. So like this dips down versus this goes up. And I've noticed that for my personal anatomy, like the back of my heel, I tend to have trouble with high or very hard backs of shoes kind of rubbing at my heel. And so I just didn't want to risk it on this trip, not having worn these for an extended period of time. So that is another main reason. So I know a lot of people on our trips, they had these shoes, they had other versions of Vessi shoes, and they absolutely love them. And I do hope to be able to find a pair or wear these one day. But I ended up going with these as my daily workhorse shoes, and I just love these. So these are what I wore as my non-waterproof shoes every day as well. And then I also brought a pair of very flat walkable sandals, and I wore these a few times when we were in Portugal. So basically that is 3 pairs of shoes. That is the magic rule for any trip that I go on. This was a 27-day trip, and I did it with 3 pairs of shoes. And those black Chelsea boots, I didn't wear those at all in Portugal. So I just like packed them away in my personal item bag. They were kind of clunky to bring around, but sometimes that's what you have to do. So it can totally be done. 3 pairs of shoes, that's all you need. Now, for the bag that I wore every day traveling around, this is my Low & Sons Aoyama bag. This is kind of my new, like, favorite purse to bring around traveling. It can hold so much. And what I love about it, especially, is the convertible strap system. As you can see, I just did crossbody, but you can literally take part of the strap off. And then now you've got like a really cute shoulder bag, just like this. So I wore it like this quite a bit as well. And then you can also take the straps off again. And this is always my favorite. I love showing people this. You can put it into dumpling mode. And now you have this super cute little evening bag, kind of like a little clutch. 3 bags in one. I absolutely love it. I brought the cream color because I was going to be wearing a lot of black, but I also have this bag in black. And between you and me, this is like the only travel purse that I will ever bring. The other feature I love about this bag is this front little zip pocket, which is perfect for little things that you just want quick access to, like your lip balm and your earbuds and just other little stuff. Okay, now I have a few items laid out in front of me. These are things that I packed in my personal item bag, which I'm sorry I can't show you, but I promise soon. So I did bring my laptop with me, and then these are my tech items. So of course, if you are traveling to Europe, you need to bring travel adapters for the power outlets. Because we were going to Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Portugal, we needed 3 different types of plugins for the power outlets. So that's why you should always bring a universal travel adapter. Lately, I've been using these ones from Epica. So for example, I think this is type C. This is what we used in Portugal. And then this is for the UK. So this is what we used in Northern Ireland and Ireland, I believe, right? This one is a 65 watt, so because I brought my laptop, I needed a little more juice, which is why I brought this one. But this one is also another universal travel adapter. I brought them both, and honestly, I'm very happy that I brought them both because hotel rooms in Europe sometimes the plugins aren't where you want them, especially when it comes to like bathroom plugins and using like hair dryers by a mirror and stuff like that. So I was happy to have 2. I kept one plugged in beside my bed so I could charge all my other things. And then I brought this one around the room to do my hair and stuff like that. If you don't have 2, you might not need 2. I would otherwise recommend bringing a little extension cord because sometimes the outlets are just too far away from what you need. So you can also just bring one travel adapter and then bring a little extension cord. And then that way you have a little more access. I love this little Nomad Lane electronics pouch. So I've got my Bluetooth adapter for the plane so I can connect my Bluetooth headphones. Lately have been using these from Soundcore. This is my power bank, which I will always bring with me in my purse. I always also bring a little extra small charging outlet as well. And then just on this side, I've got my USB cords. This is my cape scarf. It's from the brand Julahas. And I also wore this on my travel days and I absolutely love it. It's one of like my new favorite pieces as well. It basically acts as like a nice little cover up. You can wear it so many different ways. And then you can also use it as a blanket on the plane, but you can also like use it to dress up with the cute little belt. Super cute. This is like the purple color, but they also come in a lot of other colors too. And of course, I always bring my travel slippers. So I wear these on the plane. I just change out of my shoes and then slip into these. And then once I get to the hotel room, I just grab some Lysol wipes and just give these a really good wipe down. And then I am able to wear these in the hotel rooms. They're nice and cushiony, they're memory foam. Sometimes I don't want to be walking around the hotel room with like my bare feet or my socks, so that's where these come in handy. And speaking of socks, these are my compression socks from Bombas. I like these because these are calf length. So for shorties like me, they actually come up to almost like right below my knee. So they are the perfect length. And I wear these on the plane. And one more plane item. This is my eye mask with these awesome like cups for your eyes so that you are totally blackout. And this is a must-have for the plane. This was so nice to have, especially on our flight back because our long flight was total daytime. A lot of people had their windows open and I just wanted to sleep because I was exhausted. So this was total blackout and awesome. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers it for what I brought. I will leave links to everything I mentioned in the video description below, as well as you will also be able to find all the links in the very first comment, which I'll have pinned. So check those out. Feel free to ask any questions you have. Drop them in the comments. I will be reading them. I will respond to them. And now, the moment you have all been waiting for, Chris is going to show you what he packed.
Hey everybody, me again, and we're going to show you what I brought because everyone keeps asking, what does Chris bring? What does Chris pack? And I'm like, oh, they probably don't care. Turns out everybody cares, so we're going to show you every time now. So I promise to show you everything we pack for every trip. This setup, very similar to Allie's. I've got the Level 8 aluminum. I like it for the big beefy clips. And I've got this nice little base backpack. It's stylish, it's thin, but it does have some structure to it, which I really like just for throwing all my camera gear, personal item stuff, in-flight equipment, and video games and stuff like that. So let's get these all torn up, and I'll show you everything that's in these. We'll start with the carry-on. Okay, so let's start with my travel outfit. On the way to Ireland, I didn't end up wearing this bomber, but it was too hot in Portugal, so I just packed it in between here. I wore this with the black merino wool t-shirt, as well as some stone-washed American Eagle blue jeans that unfortunately did not make it back. I ended up leaving them in Belfast because after so many miles on them, I kind of just wore out the crotch on them a little bit. You know, like you don't blow your knees out on jeans anymore. It's like that little section in the crotch. And then I bent over to put my shoes on one day, and well, the rest is history. So, okay, so in addition to the shirt that I was wearing, I also brought another 2 merino wool t-shirts from Unbound Merino because they finally make tall stuff, at least in the V-neck t-shirts and the crew neck t-shirts. So I know you guys are watching this. Make more tall stuff, please. I beg you. I beg you, more tall stuff. Okay, so first things first, for Ireland, I brought back one souvenir, the only thing that mattered, and was my beautiful wool flat cap. This was awesome. I was specifically looking for one of these. I love it. I think they look so good. They're so quintessential Ireland. I probably looked like a tourist the whole time. Don't care. This thing came in clutch because it was just nice, just a nice little layer. I didn't have to do my hair, and it just provided a nice little protection from the wind and some of the light drizzle. Okay, in addition to some, we'll talk about my pants later, but then I just want to talk about the outerwear. Cute trophy. I just want to talk about the outerwear that I brought specifically for Ireland. And I did have a couple layers, so I did bring this nice, this is just like it's a full zip sweater, pretty basic, but I kind of thought it fit the vibe for Ireland. This is a American Tall product, which I have a few different pieces from because they make stuff for tall, skinny giraffe dudes like me. Their logo is also a giraffe, makes sense. And that's what the bomber jacket is as well. So I did have this as my base layer, which I needed, as well as I did hunt a tall size packable rain jacket / windbreaker type of thing. This is an Eddie Bauer product. This was essential for those windy, misty, rainy days in Ireland. Just a note on the outerwear. This is how difficult this trip was to pack for, because we went to Ireland and Portugal, completely different climates, and look how much space this takes up. This nearly takes up half of my carry-on, just for jackets that were necessary to survive in Ireland. Okay, so I just want to talk about the pants I'm wearing. These are a American Tall, they call them a travel pant, right? So these are the exact same pair of pants, one in black, one in cream, so I could mix them up. I didn't end up wearing the black ones a lot because I ended up wearing my jeans pretty much all through Ireland until they wore out, which luckily was essentially the day before we left for Portugal. And then I switched to the nice cream ones. I felt it kind of fit the vibe in Southern Europe. So that's what I was wearing the entire time. They're like a windbreaker, moisture wicking, a little moisture resistant. They call it a travel pant. These are pretty much ubiquitous across the clothing industry right now. These are available basically everywhere. They're stretchy, they're comfortable. They don't really get dirty. You can wear them in pretty much any climate, and they work really well. It's kind of like a hiking pant type of thing. Super comfortable, super durable, and one of each color. I'm pretty much good for any situation. So in addition to the 3 merino wool t-shirts that I brought, I did bring a couple just white cotton t-shirts just in case I had say a super hot day in Portugal or something, and I was like hiking a castle and I just wanted to throw one of these on, get sweaty, and then just like toss it in the laundry for the next day.
Did you wear them?
I did not wear them. Okay, so you got to have the JBL for hotel beats. I did bring these are super thin pair of travel shorts. Same reason, just in case there was a hot day in Portugal. I brought these kind of just as a backup, only because they're super thin and easy to pack. I did not end up wearing these. I could have on a couple of occasions. It was reasonably warm on a few days, and we were doing a lot of walking, so it was probably conducive to wearing a pair of shorts. I just didn't end up doing it because the travel pants were more than sufficient. But I did end up wearing these all through our Europe trip last year, as well as our entire October Japan trip when it was nearly 90 degrees or like 30 Celsius. So I'll leave a link for those. These are from Amazon. And just in case we would have found a pool or a hot tub, I do have some cool hot dog swim shorts. These are Saks brand. These are actually, these are Saks, which is typically more expensive, but these are not lasting that long, and I typically default to just some pretty generic Amazon swim shorts. They run about 20, 30 bucks because, you know, a few days in a pool, the chemicals are going to break them down and destroy them anyway. So that's normally what I run. That's what I recommend. This is actually an old pair that were a backup that I ended up bringing on this trip because I didn't really think we would see a pool, but just in case I didn't end up wearing these, we did see a pool. I just didn't use it. Mm-hmm. And of course, AirTag, Android AirTag, Droid Tag, whatever you want to call it. Those work great just to track your, I like using it so when you're on the plane, you can see where your luggage is going, and when you land at your destination, you know, you check and you can see that it's actually made it, which is nice. Okay, in the other side, this is kind of where I keep all my accessories and stuff like that. The standard 311 toiletry pouch. I really don't like bringing more than this. I just feel it's too bulky. I've been able to get away with this for so long doing carry-on only. So even if we were to check a bag, this is all I'm bringing. It leaves me more room for other stuff. Got this hard case for spare watch. You know, this is just a cheap, you know, $10 Amazon thing. I really like these because they're hard, so I'm not worried about anything banging around. Pair of sunglasses, normal glasses for when I want to take my contacts out in the hotel room. Spare hair dryer, because you never know if the hotel room is going to have one or if it's going to work well.
You did have to use that a few times.
I did have to use that a few times. Spare hangers, same thing, Amazon. There might be another one in here, there might not. I think I might have left one somewhere. Good thing they're cheap. This is a steamer, travel steamer. This is from Epica. This one's kind of nice. We showed this off in Japan. It's decently compact. Do you need to bring this? No, not necessarily, but I find this works well because I end up wearing pretty much the same few things over and over again the entire trip. So in addition to airing stuff out, I will hit it with the steamer every once in a while, especially jeans. Just refreshes it. It's not as good as cleaning it, but it'll take some of that, you know, some of that sweat and kind of just refresh it and make it a little crispy again. So I like having this, kind of like using it like a, you know, bit of a washing machine. So that's nice. It's a little bulky, but I like it. So I like using that.
It's also useful if you happen to be staying in a 400-year-old castle and might need to steam out the wrinkles of your costume for a medieval night.
My compression cube thing. I got socks and underwear in here. Merino wool socks. Come in clutch. I got this funny little medieval coin purse from our medieval cosplay day at the castle. That was kind of fun, and I just filled it with all my coin shrapnel. Oh, we got these cool little coasters. We like coasters. You know, we got those cool ones from Czech Republic, and now we got these cool, you know, cool Portuguese ones with the tiles. Quintessential Portuguese tile. Love these. These are great. Those are going to be holding lots of beers, so that's nice. A little desiccant pack. Save these. When you buy something like electronic device or something like that that comes with these, I like saving the big ones. And just, you know, I like throw it in a purse or a camera bag or your luggage. So just in case you end up with some damp clothing, you don't completely dry your swimsuit or something like that, this will take care of any excess moisture. And I got my backup flip-flops. These come in handy in case I do blow a shoe. I do have a spare in case I can source a replacement shoe. These are just the Havaianas, just a basic flip-flop, or if I'm walking to the hotel pool and back, these come in handy. For my shoes, I don't pack anything in here. I bring one pair of shoes. Same thing I've been wearing for about the past year and a half, Nike Air Force Ones. I think these ones are almost due for retirement. I think in the last 14 or 16 months. They've probably got about 1,000 miles on them now. So still working, they're comfortable, they're great, they're durable. They handle hiking castles in Austria as well as they handle subways in Tokyo or castles in Ireland. They're great, I love them. Always get good footwear, they're great. Oh, and this is also the tube pack that you get with the Trip Travel Gear Toiletry pack. And this fits a size 13 flip-flop perfectly. Okay, so that's everything in my main carry-on. So I'll tear apart my personal item for you and show you everything that's in there. So let me get this cleaned up. Okay, so now I'm gonna just break down my little base backpack personal item here. This is a smaller backpack. I could have gotten away with a bigger one, but I just like the way everything fit in this one. So this is what I brought. I do like, this is my new favorite feature on bags, and I won't buy one without one anymore. The zipper goes all the way down and has these gussets, so it opens super wide so you can see everything you're doing and organize everything in there. It is a little deceiving because it is going to have to compress, so it does look a little bigger than it actually is, but I really like that feature. Okay, so this is everything I brought with me. This is all of my personal item equipment, all of my flight gear for in-flight entertainment, as well as all of the camera equipment that I brought. Allie obviously is using the camera that she brought. She's using the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II with the Sony 11mm 1.8 attached to it. I brought another one. I'll show you that in a second. So I brought Steam Deck. Okay, so this is a new thing I've added that I really, really like. These are AR glasses. So these connect to, in my case, I use a Steam Deck. You can also connect them to your phone. These basically have projector screens on the inside of them. So when you put them on your face, it's like there's a 200-inch screen in front of your face. These are super cool. They're super discreet. And I love the fact that I can play video games on the plane or watch movies from my phone connected to these and have a 200-inch screen. So I did a bunch of research on these. I'm nerdy about this stuff, so I'll leave the exact link to these in the description below. Okay, I've got my little tech pouch here. This is a TomTalk product. I really like the cream color, so it's easy to find in the dark plane. Inside, I have multiple different chargers. I've got a spare universal travel adapter. I've got my dedicated 65-watt charger. I've got a pair of the Sleep Soundcore headphones. Also works as a great backup for earbuds, because these also work as earbuds in case my Google ones die. These are also sleep earbuds. I've got another charger because, like, it doesn't matter what plane you're on, some charger that you have is not going to fit. So I actually bring 3 different ones because I cannot be without power on the plane. That would be tragic. I would be so bored. But these travel adapters are also nice too, because you know this plug on the plane is always like, it's always fallen out. It's super finicky. But like, pro tip, you bring one of these travel adapters and you use the UK plug, and these things jam in there so tight, they're never falling out, and you're never going to be without power. So that came in handy on multiple occasions. Okay, I've got the cable for my AR glasses. That's just a standard video USB-C to USB-C, and then another spare charging cable. White, I like the white stuff for the plane. Super easy to see in the dark pockets. I think I'm done with black peripherals just because, you know, I've never in the history of time lost a black thing ever, anywhere, at all.
Sure.
Okay, and then I've also got a big long, 6-foot-long spare USB cable. This is more for, you know, those hotel rooms that Ali was talking about. Sometimes the plug isn't in the right spot, so you might need a little extra reach. In addition to that, I use this little pouch. This was like a plain toiletry kit at one point, but I've turned this into kind of my little like flight bag pharmacy. I've got my Bluetooth headphone adapter for the in-flight entertainment on there, a couple body wipes or some cleanup just in case there's a spill or something like that, because, you know, airplane seats are never dirty ever. Some eye drops, because after a long travel day, that can sometimes be 24 hours. These really help just with dry eyes because I wear contacts. Little lip chap because the plane is always dry. And I do keep some, these are just a, you know, like just like an indigestion medicine. These are some ones I got from Japan, but this is basically like a Tums or an Imodium or something like that because, you know, Yeah, and then outside of that, I've just got I bought some cheap sunglasses in Porto because I forgot mine in the hotel room and it was really bright. Just got a pen just in case I got to fill out any customs documentation or anything like that. And my passport, Nexus card, spare SIM cards, stuff like that. Okay, and this is my camera bag. If you guys want like full detail on what kind of camera equipment we bring, we do have a video we'll link here. I did a full breakdown of everything, but just to show you again, this is what I brought. This is my bag. Same style as this bag. Zippers go all the way down with the gussets. I really like that, so it opens nice and wide. I've got all my gear in here. A couple spare batteries, lens cleaning brush, and then the main workhorse for the content that we create is the Sony a6700, and as of this year, I've added the Sony 85mm f1.8 lens. So this is a bit more of a telephoto lens. So any of those like kind of dreamy cinematic shots that I'm getting of Allie or of some scenery, that's what this is doing now with Allie using her setup. Now, this is a fun thing. So this is a hero clip. This is awesome. This is like a cool little transformer carabiner. This is really nice because I like that I can hook this on here, and then I can take this and hook it to the underside of a table right in front of me, and then it's not sitting on the floor or on the back of a chair, something like that. There's cool ones for girls. I guess this is like the cool tactical one for dudes. I like it, works great. This also can come in handy for, you know, if you need to strap something to the outside of your luggage, anything like that. These are great. You get them on Amazon, link in the description.
The girl one that he referenced is the Clippa seen here. I use this a lot in bathrooms that had no hooks. I actually encountered a lot of bathrooms like this in both Portugal and Ireland.
Okay, that's everything. This is a pretty standard layout of how I've been traveling for at least the last 2 or 3 years. I do like going lightweight for my personal item just because I don't like carrying around a whole lot of bulk. This is a relatively smaller backpack, works great as a personal item. In addition to this, I could have fit a nice light sweater, thin hoodie, you know, a merino cardigan would have been great when they make them in tall size. Looking at you, Unbound. So yeah, that's about it. Also along the same lines as the Unbound Merino, this shirt, I had everybody ask me, is that the shirt? You saw the thing I did about wearing it for 7 days straight in Tokyo. That ended up being 2 weeks. I did end up stretching one in Ireland 16 days. So I did break my personal record. I wore the same shirt for 16 days. You heard that correctly, kind of ridiculous. And honestly, the only reason I changed it was because we were doing a load of sink laundry. So I'm like, well, there's no excuse but to wash it. Little bit of a different story in Portugal, just because it was a lot warmer. I did end up changing it about every 3 or 4 days. So I would say that's probably average use case. I was comfortable with that. I brought 3, more than enough to wear one, air one, and have one drying after washing. So I love them. They're great. I will probably just wear these until they stop making them or forever. So that's everything from me, but I'll kick it back to Allie because she forgot about a couple things she wants to tell you.
Okay, yes, I forgot a couple of things while Chris was doing his bit. I forgot to talk about laundry. We did do some sink laundry and use the scrubba a few times, I think, over the course of 27 days. So we just did our standard washing in the sink. We brought our detergent sheets that I've talked about. I have a full video that I'll link here about how we do sink laundry in our hotel rooms. But especially with merino wool clothing, socks and shirts and everything dries super, super fast. So that really helps as well. Also, I totally forgot to mention about the raincoat that I brought. I did bring my Lululemon, I think it's called the Rain Rebel jacket. I actually have 2 colors. It's a great jacket. I love it. It is absolutely waterproof, rainproof. So it is a really good jacket if you're going to Ireland. And now I totally forgot to follow up on whether or not we checked luggage. So the answer is yes. On the way home, we did end up checking our suitcases. And there's a couple of reasons why. So first, we did have the bottle of maple syrup that was gifted to us, and that's well over 100 mils. So I wanted to make sure that I could get that home. But it wasn't just that. In Portugal, the first day we were there, Chris and I had a free day to just chill and sip some Vino Verde on the patio, and it was a beautiful day. It didn't really feel that warm, But after a couple hours on the patio, we got back to the hotel and realized that we got pretty sunburnt. And so the next day we were actually talking to some locals, and they recommended we go to the pharmacy and buy this cream. I don't know how you pronounce it, Biafine or Biafine cream, but I was Googling it, and it's apparently a very popular product in Europe. You can get it at the pharmacy. I think it was 10 or 11 euros. And I think this is a little larger than 100 mils. So I wanted to make sure to bring it home because this stuff is actually amazing and healed us up very well. So I'm very thankful to the local ladies that we met that told us about this. So we had a few products that we wanted to bring back that were over the liquids limit. And since we were just flying home, again, I wasn't worried at all about our luggage like not arriving because we're just going home. You know, I have other clothes. If my bag gets delayed, it's not a huge deal. So I was very happy that we packed our aluminum suitcases because those protected everything. On this trip, we flew Air Canada and Ryanair. So except for the flight home, we used our luggage as carry-on for all those flights, and everything worked out perfect. So that's going to be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the unscripted Unpack with me, Unpack with us videos. They're kind of fun to do. I know they're a little long, but hopefully you enjoyed. And all the items we mentioned, everything will be linked in the video description below, as well as the first comment. And like I said, please ask any other questions that you have, or let us know if I forgot to talk about something, and I'll be sure to answer it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.